Hello, and welcome to the 34th episode of the Frontend Coffee Break, a podcast where we take a break from our everyday lives and grab a cup of joe, discuss about the different front-end related topics, relax a little bit, and just try to share a little bit of knowledge or whatever with our listeners. Today, as always, Ricardo, thanks for joining the Coffee Break.
Hello, Tucho. How are you?
I am good. I mean, we can clearly see that we have been taking a small break between the summer break, although probably we'll see about this. And this is when this episode comes out, it's already going to be almost maybe even winter. I don't know. But the thing is that we can see time has passed. Beard is longer. You haven't shaved your beard either. I mean, it's like super long.
No, same 3-day beard. It's the same as 3 months ago. But yeah, we're back. We're so back. I'm excited to be back. Finally, I missed these episodes, and I look forward to talking to you about frontend today.
I love that. I'm so back. Yeah, me too. So today's let's go dive in directly to the topic at hand. Today's topic is it worth visiting conferences or summits nowadays? You know, there's a lot of events around the world, and most around the world, Europe. America, everywhere, that are related to the web development in general, and it could be front-end developer, back-end and front-end development, specific topics, frameworks, Angular, Svelte. There's a little bit of everything. And what we would like to discuss today is is it worth attending these events? Because they can be not necessarily not time-consuming, but they can be expensive, and maybe they're not even worth it. I don't know. So let's discuss a little bit about that. So let's begin with Ricardo. Have you attended to conferences, summits? What is your experience? Which ones have you attended in the past?
I have gone to conferences, and I even helped organize conferences. I think back in my days, many years ago, when I was full stack, PHP developer, I was mainly working with WordPress. And back in the day, I helped organize what was called, or is still called, WordCamp. WordCamp is the meeting or meetup for WordPress, and it was a national event here in Barcelona where everybody meets here and shares a day of TED Talks or lightning talks, whatever you want to call it, sharing what can be done with the platform. In this case was WordPress. No, the niche of the conference was WordPress, and yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get to know famous people on the community in person. So that was nice.
That's interesting. So is this still happening? Is this a Barcelona thing, or is it that it goes from different city to city?
Yeah. So back in my days, it was only in Barcelona, and people flew from all over Spain to attend it. But now it has morphed into more local. It's easy, right? There's a WordCamp for Madrid, Sevilla, Barcelona, and different cities around Spain, which makes more sense in the end. It's way easier to find your local community and hence there or talk there. And then surely maybe there's a bigger Europe-wise or worldwide conferences. But for local events, yeah, there are multiple now.
Interesting. And just a question, because this is something that I think that there's a before and after COVID regarding conferences and summits and such. Did this happen before COVID or after it?
Yeah. This one's I don't know. We're talking 2010, maybe 2010. We're talking about I made 10 years ago or more when I helped there and eventually stepped back and was not involved in WordPress anymore. Now it's more front-end stuff. But what about you? Have you gone to any front-end or non-front-end conferences?
I've gone mostly on web development conferences. When I came to Barcelona in 2006, and I think that after the first year, I attended my first ever conference, web development conference. And curiously enough, it was in Spain itself. It was in Asturias. It was the Fundamentos Web Fundaments 2007. And it was, for me, I was, back then I was, as you, a full stack developer, and I was getting myself more into the front end part. I think we've discussed this, that back in the company that I used to work there, most people didn't want to do the front end part, so I was more involved with a friend on this area. And when we saw these conferences, we said, hey, we're learning this. We're the only ones that are doing this. We want to go here. And it's here in Spain itself. So they paid for the conference itself. And the train ticket, I think we went on by train, but we didn't have to pay for a hotel because I had family there that could host us. So that was nice. And it was, for me, that conference was an eye-opener. It was an amazing event for me. It was, I got to know a lot of people, a lot of other developers, and I fell completely in love with front-end development there. If I'm not mistaken, maybe you know a little bit better, the Web 2.0 term hadn't been coined. It was being coined around that area. And they did talk about the semantic web. It was all about the semantic web. That's where I learned about micro formats with Tantek Selik. He was there talking about the micro formats, which was something that he devised. And there were other amazing developers there just talking about the things that they were working on. And it was amazing. And then a year after that...
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was about to say just a small Kit Kat. You said semantic, and it made me laugh that 2024, and we're still seeing like websites with are no semantics, that just full of divs. So yeah, semantics. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, and this was pre-HTML5. HTML5 was a thing that they were talking, the semantic web is coming. HTML5 is coming because that's semantic, and it was the whole package. And then the next year, I went to a London-based conference. I don't remember the name. I think it might be Web Development 28. It was in London. Some of the people that had gone to Asturias were there as well. So it was super nice to do a follow-up with them because, one of the nice things about the conference is that you get to talk one-on-one with the speakers. They're not this, high above in the pedestal people, but they're people that you can actually approach and say, hi, like a fanboy. It's like, could you give me an autograph, or maybe just even, hey, you said this, you mentioned this, could we talk a little bit? And they're more than happy to do it. And then I got to follow up on people that I had met the previous year, and it was amazing. So those two conferences really changed the way that I felt about web development. They marked me, they pushed me forward to pursue web development, really, front-end development in particular. So I was super, super, super happy.
So I have two thoughts. First thought is that maybe we've lost the respect of the listeners now that they realize we were both full stack developers before coming full front ends. So we apologize. That was a secret we intended to keep forever, but it's episode 34 and it's out.
It's out.
Second thought. It's interesting that you went through your company. So you were sponsored to fly there. In my experiences, that only happened once with the JS Camp. The others, it was like more on my own free time. I was helping organize and I was going there on maybe a weekend, whatever. It was in Barcelona, so no travel required. But in your case, you asked for time off and you also asked for budget, which is very interesting, right? I mean, how do you approach this problem with your company? How do you tell them, can you sponsor me?
It's very interesting because I was working in a pretty small company back then. I think we were less than 40 developers, 50 developers at most. But I guess we were close enough that I had enough, I had enough trust, or I was close enough to the CEOs and such, because we were all a small company, to say that, hey, this is happening. We need someone to learn about this. We're learning a little bit, but this would really help us. We sat down with them. We crunched the numbers. As I said, we went to the first one. We went on train, and we didn't have to pay for any stay. But I guess that they saw that there was value in the conference. That the next year that we say, hey, we want to go to London, and they didn't pay for everything. I have to say, we did have to pay for a few of the things, maybe half and half. Don't remember the exact details. But they did give us the time to do it. It was part of our working time. Although they didn't pay for everything, I think they paid for the conference itself, but we had to pay for other expenses. So it was a little bit of a settlement, or of a compromise between the company and ourselves.
Yeah, a deal and agreement, sure. I mean, because I think that's one of the questions we need to answer here today. Like, okay, how can you as a developer convince your employee employer to sponsor you? I mean, what are the benefits of going to conferences, even like online or in person? What would be the benefit? Why is it good? You said before, it's great to be there to listen to a talk and then talk to a rock star in the dev world. I don't know, the person who invented Bio, whatever, I don't know. So that's interesting. So when you go there, what do you bring back to your company, to your work, to your role? What's the benefit?
I think that, for example, the first benefit that I can think of, and I would like to push a company to send people to conferences and such, is, as I said, the first conference that I went to, I came back inspired and excited about the work that I was doing. So that would be one thing. If you choose the correct conference for you, if it's a topic that you like, I don't know, if you're into accessibility, go to an accessibility conference. If it's performance, go to a performance conference. If it's web development, or Frontend or whatever. Because I think, first of all, you come back inspired like you want to do what you saw, because these people are inspiring. You say, when I grow up, I want to be like that. I want to do what they're doing there. And they just say like it's effortless, it's like it's horrible. It's like, I was in the weekend and I did this thing, and it's like, oh yeah, you were bored in the weekend and you did that. So I think that's one thing. It's inspiring. In Cognizant Eccentric, we do have we've evolved from the years into rules of the things that need to happen if they sponsors you to go to a conference. There's things that you need to do. Like, for example, I don't know, you haven't been to conferences in Cognizant Eccentric?
Yes, I have one here in Barcelona.
And what did they ask you?
Okay, so first of all, the topic has to be relevant to your position, right? In this case, was a JavaScript conference, so it's perfectly related to my role. But then we had to give back to the community, right? We had to come back here and say, okay, let me write blog posts, let me do a lightning talk, let me do summaries, let me tell you or tell on Slack, or is it whatever format it is. Okay, look at this, it's very interesting. Hey, look at this, it's very relevant for us. Things that we can utilize or incorporate into our daily sort of work to elevate, right? Our products or our code quality, the way of working. So it's basically, you go there, you invest, but in theory, when you go back and you expose this knowledge to 100 people in the community, front-end developers in your company, you've spent a little bit and then you gain so much, because again, it's the amplifier effect, not the megaphone effect. So yeah.
And I love it. I mean, we've had a lot of people going to different conferences throughout the years, and every time that they return, usually what I see it, or the ones that I know that they've been to conferences, is because during the Frontend monthlies that we have, once a month we get together and we share different topics. I love that those that have gone to conferences, they do a quick summary, like, hey, we went to this conference, this is what we saw, this is what we recommend, these are the interesting topics. They make a summary. And I think that, as you say, they could the least they can do is recommend, because most of the conferences nowadays are recorded. So they can actually say, hey, these are the talks that were worth seeing, go and see them. Or they can just give you a summary, or they can even learn something new and teach it back. So that would be like a great case if you want to convince your company, hey, please sponsor me to go to this. As you said, what you have to also say, what if you sponsor me, this is what I'm going to bring back. This is my compromise. Blog post is fantastic. Creating summaries and sharing the knowledge with the rest of the community, I think it's always worth it.
No, Jojo. Okay. We are in a post-pandemic era. We got to be the devil's advocate here. I mean, why would you choose physical in-person conference versus an online conference where you simply join online, watch it either live or watch a recording? What is the difference? What is better, one, the other? There's no difference. Yeah. I mean, as an employer, I could say, Chuchi, we're going to go there. Flying you there, it's going to cost me, I don't know, 1,000.
Exactly.
But if you watch it online, I can maybe only pay for the ticket, or even worse, I can just say to you, watch it after the fact, and then it's free.
Yeah.
So I only give you the time. You can do it on your work time, but it's going to be, as me as an employee, it's just going to cost me your time. That's it.
I think that this is important, that this is the minimum compromise that you can get to, that the company can give you the time. Because in the end, it's work. And if the company gives you the time because they cannot pay or they're not willing to pay it or whatever, that's at least the minimum that you can get. And nowadays, especially post-pandemic, so many of the conferences completely went online because they had to adapt. And I think that a lot of them have come back again in a physical format, but there's a lot of them that are both hybrid. People can watch it, people can go, and even some that are only online. I personally am against online. Not against, no, sorry. I am more in favor of physical conferences. I do not think that the onlines are worth that much, because for me, the biggest value that you get in a conference or a summit is the people that you meet there, the speakers that you can approach, not only during the conference, but if you're traveling to another city, most likely they're post-conference events. The last conference that I went was the Web Summit in Lisbon in 2020. I think it was in 2022. It was an amazing experience, not for the conference itself, which is quite interesting, but for everything that was happening around, going there. I went with some colleagues. I actually paid for everything myself because I wanted to go. And the colleagues that I met, the parties, and I not mean like party, but the parties, the events that were afterwards, that the people that you meet there, it was really great. That's the reason why I would say that a physical conference is much better. I don't know. What would you prefer?
Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, I understand that some people are not like in a position to travel easily because family, other responsibilities. True. If you can go in person, I think it's a full experience, right? Not only you're traveling, you're, as I said, you are mingling with other people, which is fantastic. As a selling point for your company, I would also suggest that you can use that for recruitment. I mean, you've seen probably those like in the lobbies, there are tables with brochures and whatever for either if you're selling your product because you're a product-based company or you are trying to recruit the brightest minds. It's a place to go there and try to, get junior developers to go to you or senior developers. So that's interesting. But I can also see the appeal online, right? If you're saying, okay, there's, I don't know, Google I/O or something very big in the USA.
Okay.
It's way easier to just go online and watch it, right? Rather than trying to spend $2,000 on flying there. Who's going to sponsor you? So it's very hard. Now, if it's in Barcelona, it makes perfect sense to go in person. Or if it's, an hour train, sure. Even if it's somewhere in Europe, you get in a 1 hour, 2 hour flight. That's also interesting. But if it's farther away, it's a balance, right? And I do like online as well. I'm not, I don't know. I like online. So there you go.
Well, I'm using the spoon a lot. One thing that I agree with you is that there are certain conferences that would be way too expensive to go to, although the benefit also of going there physically would be really big. But online is a good compromise, I guess, if you cannot really attend one. But the thing is that I don't think that when you're going to the conferences online, if the conference is going to be available afterwards, and it's going to be free, at least the video, I don't know if I would pay to attend one online.
I get it. Maybe you wouldn't pay for the ticket to watch it live, but maybe you would watch it after the fact, unless like the speakers or the way they're doing the conference is very interactive. I get you. So if it's just a recording, like you go and play on whatever is it, streaming platform, and then you watch somebody just vomit the monologue, then surely it makes no sense to pay for it. Just watch it after the fact, and even if it's one week later, it's fine. But if somehow they make it more interactive, or you can participate, you can even like questions directly to the chat, or there's a Q&A session or something, that makes it way more interesting to me, even pay for it, because then you can interact with the speaker, which is, is maybe, again, the example of Rich Harris, the guy from Svelte, for instance. I don't know, right? So I'm with you. You got to know what you're dealing with to pay or after the fact.
Yeah. And in the for example, the one moment that it does make sense for me to go to attend a conference online would be if the conference also includes workshops. If you're going to do a workshop that happens online, then I think it's worth it, because that workshop is only going to happen live at one certain time. and this is a workshop that you'll have someone working with you, and you can ask questions directly. You can start coding, you can start doing tests, you can or trying it out. You can interact with the giver of the workshop, the trainer. So this, for example, I do believe it's unique because you cannot find this anywhere else or any other time. You need to go to the workshop in that moment, at that time, in order to participate. And it's a unique experience. But for example, I remember there was a colleague of ours, Armel, once said that he didn't see, well, this is just my interpretation. It's not like that he said it like this, but he said that he preferred to give conferences or to listen to conferences that are unique, that it's not something that you can download from or look at in YouTube that anyone could just talk about. So he was talking that he likes to go to see conferences that are more personal. The person that is talking there, it makes it a little bit more personal, which is a little bit hard. So this is the reason why I think that it's more worth the time going to, because yes, you're gonna see it, you're gonna listen to it, but then you can go to the person and ask questions directly. You say, "Hi, these are my thoughts. What do you think?" To the person that created the conference, and I think that's the most invaluable thing about conferences. Now, there is a couple of ways that you can actually what? There's a couple of ways that you can actually convince. Maybe
shout out to Armel. Yeah, sorry.
There's a couple of ways that you might be able to convince your company to send you to a conference, and there's two ways that I can think of. First, you've already mentioned it. Say, hey, you don't need to pay for the conference because I'm volunteering there. I just need you to give me the time so that I can go to the conference. I see a lot of our colleagues going to the Java conference in Barcelona. They participate. These are the backend Evil developers. But they go to the Java conference. They help out, so they get free tickets. They get to see they get to have the experience. The company is paying for the time in the sense that they're giving the time to the employee work time, and it's easier for the company to say yes because they don't have to pay for the conference itself, and it's a way to give back. And I think that's a good way to do it. And the other one would be as a speaker. I mean, if you manage this is something that you like, and you manage to become a speaker, if you have an interesting topic to share, this is another nice way to travel to a company, and you would do a little bit of also a promotion of the company that you work in, promotion of the work that you're doing, and you still get to enjoy and meet a lot of these people. I mean, that would be my recommendation. If they don't want to sell you, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to speak, you can always start a podcast. Same thing. No. Yeah, I absolutely. So yes, talk to your employer, get things done, and try to go to a conference. I think it's nice. You're gonna get very rich, like knowledge-wise, and it's an experience. So definitely do it. Chucho, I want to talk a little bit about something we did here at Net-Centric. What we called the Net-Centric Summits. I think it was a fantastic thing we used to do pre-COVID, of course, right?
Yes.
Before everything changed. Yeah. So in one word, yeah, summit, already. So it's like getting together, a conference thing. And it was all the things that you explained, Chucho, but internally in a company. So we would fly somewhere or go to train somewhere, the whole company get together. And we spent 2-3 days of, again, conferences on whatever it is, Adobe things or front-end things. There were Java tracks, there were QA tracks, and it was fantastic to see your colleagues get on a stage, big or small, and get in front of them, present something they were doing. And it was all good, man. It was all good. I think the speakers had a tough time. I never spoke there. It gave me a lot of respect because the rooms are full of very senior people. And it's like, oh man, what am I going to have to present there? But people did it, and it was fantastic. And I love it, and I miss it. So yeah,
I'm with you. This was an amazing eternal event, and as you mentioned, one of the nice things about it is, once again, the value that we had when we were doing the physical summit is get together physically with your colleagues, see them. I remember that I bonded a lot with a lot of my colleagues that I worked with online, but I had never seen, and it was very nice to get together, to talk to them physically, and to share experiences, because it was the lunch, the dinner, the breakfast, parties or whatever, but it was an experience that you share. And then we had the conferences, which is like, okay, we have our internal knowledge. This is a moment that we can share the knowledge. And also it made people grow and develop their speaking skills and also technical skills or knowledge because they had to present something. And this is something that I as well miss. And if a company is able to organize these events, which the bigger the company is, it might be harder. I would say that to encourage any company to do it, it has a lot of value, and I do miss them. I remember that we moved to the online precisely on we were going to have the event, or we finished the event the day that one day before the lockdown happened in Barcelona. For example, if we had been in I think it was going to be in Berlin, we would have been stuck there, half of the company outside their house. Well, we started to do it during COVID times online. It was great.
Not too bad to be stuck in Berlin.
Well, that is true. But we started doing it online. It was good. It was there was a lot of very nice things. We tried to keep it together, but as good as it was, the organizers were doing a fantastic job to trying to give us a very similar experience. For me, it was not the same. Doing it online, even with friends, it was not the same. It's like that only reinforces the feeling that physically it's much better. Anything that you do in that sense, conferences, summits, all of that. If you get together with people, I think it's much better than if you do it online. Because online it feels that you're just watching Netflix, let's say. You're downloading a video and watching it without interacting. Now, nowadays,
It's not the same indeed.
We no longer do the summits, and usually, at least, I think that my conference going days are right now behind me for the moment. Would love to go to a conference once as a speaker, but right now they're in the background. So, what can you do if, for example, your company doesn't sponsor the conferences, or you don't have the time, the resources to do the conferences? What is the next best thing that you can do? I personally would recommend meetups. I don't know if you've attended some meetups or are a meetup going person or not.
I am not a meetup going person. I know that you are. If you've always been posting this, so no, but yes.
Well, this is something it's good to live, for example, in a big city because there's more opportunity of going to meetups. Here we have the Barcelona JavaScript meetup, and we have other different types of meetups. And I really recommend this because once again, it gives you, in a small portion, the opportunity of going somewhere, networking, meeting new people, getting inspired. Conferences usually are, they're just okay, usually. But the experience of being with people, it's always fantastic. For me, every single time that I've been to a meetup, I've ended up happier. It's like, I go back super happy. Usually the ones that I try to go is the JavaScript one. I missed one where I don't remember the name of the Angular guy creator, that he was here in Barcelona. I don't know if he was here for a bigger conference or what, but he was here in Barcelona and he went to a JavaScript meetup to talk about Quick. And the nice thing is other than probably this is something that you can see online, that the opportunity of after the conference to just approach him and say hi and ask him any question that you'd like, that is invaluable. And if you have meetups, I would recommend always look at the meetups that you have nearby, see who's going to come and try to attend if you can. It's always going to be a very nice experience. In meetups, I have spoken there, and it's super nice always. But this would be something that I would recommend people to do. We're not being sponsored.
How do you say hi again in a meetup?
Hi.
Exactly.
But you have to do it with me.
Hi. All right. Yeah. So I'm all in for meetups. So maybe next time we can go together. All right. Let's wrap it up, and we leave a question for you, the listeners. Right. What was the best conference you've ever attended? And if you haven't, which one would you like to go? Leave us a recommendation. Let us know. And as always, like, subscribe, and all the things you do for podcast. We appreciate you. We are so back.
We do.
See you very soon, Chucho. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricardo. Bye-bye.